What's up guys, it's Lord Botha here for another video, and MindsEye, you might remember MindsEye, came out not that long ago. It was an absolute disaster. Well, now more news is coming out of Build a Rocket Boy, the actual developer of MindsEye, and yeah, it's all bad. First, from IGN, MindsEye devs UK workforce of around 300 receive at-risk emails as former GTA lead Leslie Benzies finally addresses staff. Build a Rocket Boy, the Edinburgh, Scotland-based developer of MindsEye, has issued an at-risk of redundancy email to its around 300-strong UK workforce following the disastrous launch of the game. Last month, IGN reported that Barb had begun a redundancy process following the release of MindsEye. Yeah, they were cutting people as soon as they launched the game. That's how financially bad this company is off. The standard 45-day consultation process kicked off on June 23rd, which according to UK law is triggered when an employer imposes 100 or more redundancies within a 90-day period. IGN understands that Build a Rocket Boy currently has around 300 UK employees with 200 abroad. That means that they have 500 employees total, and they're at least cutting over 100 people, at least in their UK department as well. So of the 300 people in the UK that they have working for them, over 100 people are getting cut, because you have to have at least 100 people being cut to trigger this 45-day consultation process. So about 1/5 of their staff are getting axed. Definitely screams healthy financials. At the time, Build a Rocket Boy issued a statement confirming the redundancy process, insisting that the cuts will let the studio, quote, focus on delivering ongoing updates and performance optimization for MindsEye, while also ensuring the long-term success of Build a Rocket Boy's future ambitions. Yeah, guys, with however lean and mean we already were, we have to get leaner and meaner. Basically, barely anybody's going to be employed here. By the way, let's say that they fix all the bugs and all the errors and everything that makes MindsEye terrible from just a functionality standpoint. It's still, at the end of it, MindsEye, which from all reports is GTA with a little bit of cyberpunk mixed into it, and extremely short of a story. You know what this actually reminds me of? This reminds me of a little Mexican car company called Mestretta. Now, I get it. If you're not a gearhead, which I don't even consider myself one, you might be checking out here, but hold on. I got a point to this. See, most car companies, when they start up, they create a car that's a town car. Something that families and the majority people find both affordable and functional. Something that's going to get their kids to school and back. Something that they can pack groceries in the back of. And something that they can either pay off or won't break the bank to buy outright. But Mestretta, no. They decided that their first car that they were going to make themselves, only themselves, was going to be a supercar. And they started it in 2011. And guess what? They ended it in 2014. And why did they end it? Well, I believe the specific reason they gave, and I'm paraphrasing here, was gross and incompetent mismanagement of funds, which is a fancy way of saying we spent a lot of money we shouldn't have on something that didn't work. Because surprisingly, when you're a small-time company and you spend a lot of money to create a product in a market that's very niche, and it's something that's not very functional and is expensive, it somehow didn't make them a lot of profit. In the same way, there is a reason why indie game developers start small. They start with app games, gacha games, very low budget small games, stuff that isn't highly polished with super duper Unreal Engine 5 graphics, even though you can use Unreal Engine 5 and have good graphics now at a fairly cheap cost. But still, you have indie developers that go the Schedule 1 route or the repo route, and guess what? They become massively popular and gigantic success to the point where their servers can't even handle the amount of people that want to play it. That was an actual problem that repo had. The problem with MindsEye is that the developers, Leslie Benzies and the rest of them over there, Well, they wanted to blast off from the launch pad directly competing with GTA. And it was never going to happen. Not from your first game as an indie developer with barely any money and not a whole lot of time to churn out a profit. And I think that inability to understand and accept that fact is really what did them in here. Still, that hasn't stopped the COPE train from going full steam ahead, such as in this article here from Rock Paper Shotgun. MindsEye director reportedly says the studio will relaunch the game as around 300 staff are at risk of being laid off. The article states Benezzi also allegedly made comments about what IGN referred to as an internal and external saboteurs being a factor to blame for both MindsEye and Build a Rocket Boy's problems. Build a Rocket Boy co-CEO Mark Gerhardt ended up attracting criticism for claiming there are, quote, some people that don't want to see Leslie or Build a Rocket Boy be successful that are making concerted effort to trash the game and the studio. So there you go. Even after the game is launched, everybody says it functions terribly. Everybody sees all the bugs and the crashes, everything terrible about this game. Benzies and Gerhard are still being like, oh, it's internal and external saboteurs. It's people on purpose wanting to hate the game and bash the company. They don't want to see us succeed. No, motherfuckers. You don't want to see you succeed because you created a terrible product. The truth is you wanted to punch above your weight from the start and you were not ready to compete in the field that you wanted to compete in. And by doing so, you made a terrible product. You weren't able to create the thing that you wanted to create. It wasn't ready, it was broken, and when you release it and it's obvious that you wanted this thing to look like certain other games and be compared to those certain other games, and then they are, and your game is just inferior, well then that's on you. You created this environment. You did all this. And the layoffs that you have to impose because of your terrible product are all your fault. I can't believe it's 2025 and we still have to rehash this point that it is not the audience's fault that your product is bad. And if these guys ever try to come back to this statement and try to say, oh, well, this is our art, the same way like Mass Effect devs did all the way back in Mass Effect 3 and other devs have done since, when there's been backlash to things that they've done with their game, either story-wise or functionality-wise or whatever, I'll say what I said then and still say now. It may be your art, but it's also a product that people buy. And when the art does not live up to their expectations in a fairly major way, and there's enough people that feel like that, well, then you didn't do well, either as an artist or somebody selling a product. In terms of Build a Rocket Boy and MindsEye, they didn't do well in anything. And because of that, it looks like they're failing, and quite honestly, they deserve to fail. I hope the developers that actually worked on the nuts and bolts of this game land on their feet and they do okay. It wasn't like they tried to shove agenda stuff seemingly into the game at all. They were just literally, from what it looks like, under a crunch, and probably, and this, I have no evidence to back this up, were really questioning whether or not they were going to get paid. But that's all just pure speculation from me. But I hope they land on their feet. As for the company that Build the Rocket Boy, screw them. But those are just my thoughts on all this. If you have your own thoughts, go and leave them in the comments. If you liked this video, go and like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, I appreciate you watching all of it, and we'll talk to you again later.